Do odors induce lucid dreams? Meditation influences phase states. Scientists study how the brain paralyzes our bodies when dreaming. And other news. Welcome to Phase Today. This is the first news media about lucid dreams, sleep paralysis, and other phase states. Are you ready? Do odors induce lucid dreams? Scientists have been studying the effects of fragrances in humans for a long time. Odors can improve one's well-being, change one's mood, and even help with depression. Certain odors have been found to enhance concentration and memory. An experiment by German scientists led by Michael Schredel in 2014 examined yet another property of the olfactory function. During this experiment, the authors presented the participants with two series of images of urban and rural areas. The pictures were combined with two different scents, hydrogen sulfide for the city and the scent of roses for the countryside. Participants were exposed to the odors during wakefulness and then again during REM sleep. The natural scent of fragrant roses caused memory reactivation in most of the participants. Under the influence of the scent, the volunteers saw a rural landscape in their dreams. In 2020, this experiment served as the basis for a new study by scientists from the University of Bern in Switzerland, led by Daniel Erlacher. This time, the researchers used scents to induce lucid dreams. 16 participants spent one night in a sleep laboratory. The experimental odor was given to them through a special mask during wakefulness and morning REM sleep. Sleep fragmentation was combined with reality testing techniques using the scent. Contrary to the scientists' expectations, the procedure induced lucid dreaming in only 2 of the participants, which is not significant enough in effect to ascribe it to the experimental technique. However, despite this disappointment, the team is confident that olfactory stimulation techniques may still produce results in the future. According to the authors, the experiment failed due to a number of procedural errors, which they plan to correct in the future. If they succeed, it will open up a new field for research in lucid dreaming induction. What scents do you think would be effective in provoking lucid dreams? The study was published in August 2020 in Consciousness and Cognition magazine. Meditation influences phase states. Scientists have repeatedly expressed the opinion that the practice of meditation has a positive effect on the frequency of lucid dreaming. Indeed, training mindfulness while awake increases the degree of awareness during sleep. This hypothesis has been proven by previous research. In a recently published research on this topic, scientists led by Benjamin Baird of the University of Wisconsin-Madison, USA, investigated the differences in experience between veteran meditators and newcomers. The study also included a group of volunteers who did not practice meditation, but had completed an 8-week course on developing mindfulness. The experiment showed that those who had been meditating regularly for a long time had more lucid dreams. The mindfulness course, on the other hand, did not affect the frequency of these experiences in any way. Seasoned meditation practitioners develop not only mindfulness but also self-reflection, that is, awareness of their current state of consciousness, which contributes to success in the practice of lucid dreaming. Indeed, meditation can help better focus one's attention and monitor one's stream of consciousness, a skill that has positive effects on lucid dreaming. It is not for nothing that in the Tibetan dream yoga, lucid dreams are considered an ideal state of meditative awareness, and during deep meditations, many practitioners reported out-of-body experiences. Does meditation help you enter and maintain various phase states? The study was published in 2019 in Psychology and Consciousness, Theory, Research, and Practice. Transcranial stimulation can be dangerous for the brain. Transcranial stimulation with an electric current is a frequently used tool in scientific research around the world. In particular, it has been used in experiments on the induction of lucid dreams to regulate brain activity. Until now, this method has been considered relatively safe. Only one case with severe neurological consequences has been reported. Otherwise, the side effects were not dangerous and went away immediately after the experiment. However, in November 2020, Sandra Bakar-Benay, a neuroscientist from Oxford University, published an article that revealed the dire consequences of such experiments, based on her own example. In 2020, Bakar-Benay volunteered to take part in a research study that used transcranial stimulation. The experiment consisted of 2 programs, each consisting of 8 1.5-minute sessions of stimulation with currents of 750 microamps, 6 Hz and 70 Hz, respectively. Under the influence of the current, she was asked to complete the task to assess attention and concentration. The experiment was successful, but 3 weeks after it ended, Bakar-Benay felt a change in her well-being. She developed a sense of déjà vu when perceiving someone else's speech, as well as panic attacks and anxiety. Another side effect was lucid dreams and the feeling of unreality in the waking state. The author turned to a clinic for help and, having undergone a series of examinations, received a terrible diagnosis: epilepsy. The EEG had confirmed an abnormality in the temporal lobe of her brain. Over the next few years, Bakar-Benay had developed seizures. 8 years after the experiment, she feels tired and exhausted from the constant medication she has to take to maintain a normal life. The scientists believe that the microcurrent introduced during the experiment could have caused the illness or aggravated abnormalities of which she had been unaware. Now the scientist is calling for the introduction of mandatory MRIs for all volunteers in similar studies. The article was published in November 2020 in the Epilepsy and Behavior Reports journal. Scientists assess sleep fragmentation technique. The wake-up back-to-bed technique essentially consists of alternating intervals of wakefulness and sleep. Practitioners set an alarm to wake them up a certain while after the first phase of sleep. And once woken up, perform a reality check technique, or a mnemonic technique, repeating to themselves, "The next time I fall asleep, I will remember that I am dreaming." This method has repeatedly proven its efficacy in the laboratory setting. However, is it just as successful at home without additional supervision from scientists? A team led by Michael Schredel, one of the main researchers in the field of lucid dreams, tried to answer this question. The experiment involved 50 volunteers who used the sleep fragmentation and mnemonic techniques at home. The results show that this technique is no less effective for daily use at home. Among the participants, 18% were able to experience lucid dreams after sleep fragmentation, compared with 6% before using the technique. And out of the 10 volunteers who had never had lucid dreams before, 5 had a new phase experience during the 5 weeks of the experiment. Although this result does not seem particularly impressive, the scientists are confident that almost everyone can master lucid dreams in this way if they keep at it. The study was published in December 2020 in the Dreaming Journal. Scientists study how the brain paralyzes our bodies when dreaming. Shantaro Uchida of the University of Tsukuba in Japan have published a new study on the neurons in the medulla that keep our bodies motionless during REM sleep. As it turned out, when we are dreaming, neurons in the ventromedial layer send signals to the cells of the spinal cord to suppress movement. During an experiment on mice, the researchers managed to turn off this chain of interactions. When this group of neurons was blocked from signaling, the scientists saw that the mice began to move during REM sleep like people with sleep disorders, for example, sleepwalkers. This discovery could possibly lead to the emergence of new treatments for sleep paralysis characterized by muscle atony, short-term loss of muscle tone. or even more severe sleep disorders, such as narcolepsy, which manifests as sudden attacks of sleep or a loss of consciousness, cataplexy. A person suffering a cataplexy attack is awake, but his muscles behave as if he were asleep, which leads to a sudden loss of consciousness. The scientists tested the hypothesis that a certain group of these neurons affects this condition in mice with signs of cataplexy. By silencing the neurons, they were able to shorten the seizure, which is a very encouraging sign. The study was published in December 2020 in Journal of Neuroscience. A narcoleptic's view on lucid dreams. People look at me in fear after I tell them what I see in my dreams. Sometimes this look scares me more than the creatures that dwell in my hallucinations. Cornelia Schoenman, a narcoleptic and independent artist, shares her experience on lucid dreams. Lucid dreams helped her overcome her fear of terrifying hallucinations by learning to control them. The first time Cornelia felt she was different from everyone else was in her teens, but she was officially diagnosed when she was 25 years old. At school, she could fall asleep right in the middle of an exam. To keep herself awake, she had to scratch her skin until she drew blood. In the late 1990s, there was little information about the symptoms of narcolepsy, a severe sleep disorder with fits of sudden oncoming sleep. The gamut of false diagnoses for narcoleptics range from a mental disorder to drug addiction. Cornelia stumbled upon an article on insomnia, which casually talked about narcolepsy and immediately recognized her own symptoms. From the moment the diagnosis was confirmed, she realized that complex visual hallucinations, sleep paralysis, and lucid dreaming would be her eternal companions. Not understanding how to control her condition, she turned to lucid dreams. She also took up photography. You can see the author's photos in this video, in order to learn to experience her condition without perceiving it as a disease. In her hallucinations, Cornelia is often in pain. She describes in detail how she feels the space around her change the moment the seizure begins. According to her, a character she created in the lucid dreaming state, a black eagle that taught her how to fly, has helped her cope with the constant feeling of panic. Lucid dreaming is a technique that allows me to regain some control of my own nightmares and, as a result, experiment with new forms. For the narcoleptic, it is also a way to connect two worlds with blurred boundaries, a fuzzy sense of reality, and a shifting world of dreams. The study was published in December 2020 in the Sociology and Technoscience Journal. As you can see, our topic is actively developing. In order not to miss new discoveries, right now subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media, where we publish news daily. All links are in the description. See you next week!